I'm hot. This ring light is hot. Hey, Jen.
Hey, Sarah. It's episode 1.
Woo! First episode
Of Girlfriend Quit Your Job.
We're so excited that you're here on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, we want to give you guys kind of an overview about what we want to accomplish with this show. So I feel like we have one large audience that we're trying to connect with, but might fall into a couple different categories, okay? So first of all, I'm so sorry, but this is for women. If you're a man, go ahead and try to steal everything else like you guys always do. But this is specific.
Well, that escalated quickly.
I'm sorry, Sarah. I'm still bitter from Friday. Is that so terrible?
We're gonna have to talk about Friday today.
Well, we're gonna have to talk about Friday. But we are women entrepreneurs, and we are so passionate about helping women quit their 9-to-5s and become their own boss and become amazing at it. I want you all to go out there and freaking kill it. And then at the same time, there's a lot of women out there who are moms, who are juggling lots of different things, and they have signed up with kind of like an MLM, selling something, which is so great. And we're also
is like MLM a dirty word, or is it okay to say?
I'm not sure. I feel like probably the stereotypes with MLM makes it bad. I'm not sure, Sarah. That's actually a really good question. But
we support multiple MLMs. We have family, we have friends that sell multitude of things, so we fully support it. So it's not a dirty word for us. Girl, wherever you're going to make money, you do it with passion and integrity, and you'll never fail.
Yes. So here's the thing though, we want to help women who are doing that do it correctly. So whether you want to quit your job and become a consultant, start a giant empire, or just sell, Beachbody on the side, whatever you plan on doing, we want to help you guys achieve your dreams there. And so every episode, we're going to give a nugget of information on how to get closer to that. And we're going to try to go chronologically. We're going to try to go in order with how you become, who you are today to that boss woman that we are.
Boss babe, boss girl.
Yes. Sarah, your hair looks great today.
Does it? The salon's just opened in California yesterday, so these roots are going to get done soon. And Jen actually talked me into going dark again, but that's a whole other episode. So,
well, we'll just have.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, you bet. If you haven't been able to figure it out yet, Sarah and I are best friends. She lives in San Diego, and I live in Nashville. And we used to work together and saw a lot of success at our company. But we were making our boss super rich.
Yeah.
Loaded. We wanted to be rich.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted a piece of that pie.
We did.
So we did a lot of things to be where we are today.
It didn't just happen overnight, Jen. It wasn't like one day we woke up and we said, we're going to quit tomorrow. This has been a plan in the making. And I think everybody needs to understand that. I see a lot of successful people who go into consulting are doing it as they planned for it. It wasn't just, okay, I'm going to start selling XYZ tomorrow. You got to get a game plan.
Yeah, and that today is our number one piece of advice. That's our nugget of wisdom today, is that it doesn't happen overnight. Sarah and I have been in our industry for a while, and we have witnessed firsthand other people, women as well, who were fired, who got mad and quit their job, and then they decided, I'm going to be a consultant. And they weren't successful. No. And that's because they did not have a game plan, and they weren't doing things along the way that allowed them to do that. So I quit a 6-figure job and walked straight into one the very next day. But that took years in the making. So we definitely want to lean in and talk about how success does not happen overnight. Sarah, why don't you kind of give everyone a little history of your story?
Yeah. So another point I just want to point out really quickly is we've also seen the opposite. We've seen people who are so smart, so successful, scared to quit their comfortable job. They have 6 figures. They have benefits. They're comfortable. They know it. they don't love it, but they're doing okay. So they stay there out of comfort. And that was me, you guys, to be very honest with you. Jen, totally different. If you don't have a Jen in your life, get yourself a Jen in your life. You need a Jen. That's what I always tell people. Someone who is your biggest cheerleader, but also is truthful with you and is telling you when you need to step it up or when to check your integrity or check your passion. So I, as well, had a 6-figure job with great benefits that I was really good at. We just killed it every year over year success. But over the course of many years, I just started seeing myself complacent. And I also thought, what do I have that I can share with the world? And I would have these thoughts here and there, and then I'd kind of put them back because I'm like, no, you're a mom, you have a family, you need to think realistically, right?
Yeah. Sarah and I did it's interesting because I feel like we almost started along the same path. Yep. And then we got to a point where I was like, I'm just going to go off and do my own, come with me. And she just froze.
Yeah.
She didn't believe in herself. But the fact was, Sarah, when I quit 2 years ago, if you had quit back then, you would be probably more successful today. You would have done more. You got in your own way. And I think a lot of people do that. And I that's why I think you and I are going to be great co-hosts for this show, because I'm more of I'm just going to jump in and pray to God that he shows up and helps me. And you are much more of a planner and you play it.
Yes. And I needed to know the timing was right. And looking back on it, do I think, boy, I wish I would have done this sooner. I'm so happy right now. I am full of life again. I'm talking to you guys. I'm sharing my knowledge, but there's a reason. So I'm following that, and I'm trying to remember that there's a reason why I'm doing it now. So, trust the process. But I think the biggest thing is just don't decide one night. You got to plan for it.
Yeah. Girlfriend. That's the thing. And we want to help you plan for that. So this show is really going to give you the tools to, how do I go from, making $30,000-$40,000 to making over $100,000 in a couple years. And it's not going to be by you getting mad and going into your boss's office today and quitting and saying, I can do this without you. That's not how it happens.
No, it's going to be a year or less of hard work, of juggling 2 different things to make sure that you put enough energy into your side hustle so that it is ready to go when you're ready to take off. Because what is the saying? The best time to find a new job is when you already have one, or something like that. Or
I like that. I've not heard that, but that's great.
Yeah. The best time to look for a job is when you already have one, because then you're picky, you're selective. If you're not having a job, you take anything. I've been in that situation so many times. Yeah. So you think more clearly when you have your nest egg, when you have your comfort level, and you have this new dream.
Yeah, I think that's great. And, in the future, we're going to be talking about really choosing that specific niche and how you go about doing that. But I think right now, for a lot of people that are probably listening to this, they have a job that they just do, and they just hate it all around. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be a consultant in this field. I hate this. Right. Sarah and I are believers that every single person was born with a talent. Everyone's good at something. Not everyone's good at the exact same thing. Sarah is good at things that I'm not good at, and vice versa. And
I can't write an email to save my life.
Oh, Sarah's terrible. Right. Sarah's just writing an email, is really difficult for her, but she can pick up the phone and talk to anyone. And so there are things that you're doing with your job that I want you guys to be thinking about. What part of my job do I actually like? If it's 100% you hate it, I don't even, first of all, I don't believe it. I just don't believe that. I believe there's an aspect to your job you like. Even if it's your commute to work. What do you love about your commute to work? Is it that you're listening to a podcast? Is it that you're learning? What is it that you do every day that brings you joy? Even just a small something. And I gotta say, Sarah, even if it's something as simple as like going into the break room at lunch and talking with your coworkers and being like a confidant for them, that is an aspect of your job that later you can lean into.
Oh my gosh, that is such good information, because that shows that you're a people person and build relationships. Are you the person in the office who knows how many kids Sue has and where Dan last went on his vacation and all of that. Lean into that.
Yeah, because that right there, automatically in my head, I'm thinking you can be a culture coach. You can create a program and go into businesses, small or big, and teach them how to create a culture that leans into the employees. If your thing is just writing, like you love to sit and you love to write emails and you're a really great communication person, you could become a communications consultant and teach people how to like start an e-newsletter within their company. And, I could literally come up with 1,000 ideas, but no matter what your job is every day, I want you to start thinking about what part of my job do I actually like? And so this is where Sarah and I are going to get personal with our lives. Because I feel like the best way to learn from someone is to hear their story. And I think as we go along with more episodes, we'll delve into deeper parts of our story. I was a marketing director at a beauty school. And when you're a marketing director, you are everything. You're a graphic artist, you're a website editor, you are a social media poster, and you're a writer, you do press releases. Like there are 1,000 things you do in marketing. Even just making signage for the store that, we're closed because of COVID, like that falls in the marketing department. And so when I was thinking about going out on my own and being consultant, I was really trying to think, what part of this do I like? Mm-hmm. And there was a couple. One was, I loved changing lives. I loved helping my school that I was working at that was struggling. Like 2015 was the worst year they ever had. And I loved being the person that like saved the day, that helped increase business. And Sarah and I did. We teamed up and we increased leads and enrollment in 1 year by 34%. So we like to say we saved the company. They probably won't give us that credit, but we give ourselves that credit because we kind of did, Sarah.
I mean, it is what it is. It's the truth.
So you have a bunch of people there that we saved their jobs,
Right.
Kids got to go to school because we stayed in business. I mean, there might have been other things the school decided to do along the way that saved their own company. But at that time, we were critical in that. And so I loved that aspect. I also loved sharing my secrets. Sarah and I quickly found out that going to conferences and sharing our secrets with people got us the attention our parents never gave us. And so, people would just fawn over us like, I never even thought about that. What a genius idea. And we're over here like, this feels good.
And Jen's like, I told you we were the smartest people in the room. And I'm like, I had no idea.
I always knew it. Finally someone was saying it. Right. But it was that validation. My love language is words of affirmation. And so it was so nice to get validation from other school professionals that like, oh my goodness, I'm going to go home and use that idea, Jen and Sarah, and it's going to save my business. So I loved that. And then the third thing I loved about my job was actual like ad ideas, campaign ideas. I like to say I'm the Don Draper of vocational.
That's with Mad Men.
Just a little.
We're so obsessed. She says she's Don Draper and I'm Roger Sterling. I'm fine with being Roger. He was very likable.
I mean, Don can't make accounts if Roger isn't closing them.
Right. So exactly.
That is exactly. And so I loved creating hashtag strategies, campaigns, and watching them blow up and do well. So those were my 3 things from my job that I loved so much that I knew I could do as a consultant. And I did. So Sarah, why don't you tell me, you were doing admissions for the school.
I'm even going to back it up farther. I fell into sales. I was an esthetician working for a very prestigious high-end salon and spa in San Diego. And I gave great facials, but the feedback was always, Sarah, your facials are amazing, but you talk too much. I can't relax.
Imagine. Yeah.
I can't relax with you talking my ear off. So I was getting this over and over, and it was a negative, you guys. But somebody wiser than me, older than me said, you know what? We're going to move you out of the facial room and we're going to move you to a sales position. I was like, oh, okay. What is that? I just talk to people all day. Okay. And I was so successful. So I took a negative of me sucking as being an esthetician to me completely, changing the game with them with sales. So I was booking group sales to come in. I worked for the hotel side. And again, I fell into admissions. Someone said, "Hey, you'd be really good at this. Do you want to come work here?" I was like, "Great, sounds fun." And I love talking to people. I love talking to Jen and saying to her, "Oh, how's Leslie?" That's her dog she's obsessed with. And her being like, "Oh my gosh, Sarah remembered my dog's name. Wow, she really cares." I love that. I love people to think about me fondly. I would also say I love the game. I love the chase. I love to have a goal and then meeting it and to be like, I'm my own biggest fan, but I'm also my own worst enemy because I push myself so hard. So I love that chase. It's like, the boyfriend, girlfriend, you chase each other and, that kind of a thing.
Yeah, I think, and that's what, by the way, you're doing as consultant, is that you took those things that are like, the numbers, the goal orientation, the fact that you can, speak well, communicate, be a salesperson. And so
I'm in charge of my own destiny.
Yeah.
Nobody else is in charge of my success but me. And that's really important to me. Not because I don't think other people are capable, because I know they are, but I want to be in charge of my paycheck. I don't want to work and do millions of dollars in revenue and only get this. Okay. So you're telling me that if I become a consultant, I can decide what I make. Do I want to work 6 hours a week? Do I want to work 60 hours a week? That's up to me.
Right.
The freedom of that is so amazing.
It's worth it. It's worth the hustling. And I think that's what a lot of people don't realize. I have so many people ask me, like, how do I do that? How do I become a consultant? Like, I want to quit my job and be a consultant. And I mean, I feel like I don't give the advice enough that, do you have any idea how freaking hard I work to get here? Like, people don't even see that stuff. My first professional job out of college was to be a communications coordinator for the American Association of Cosmetology Schools. That's how I got into this industry. It was for a trade association. And what people don't know is, while I had that full-time job, I had met a woman through there who was a director of education. And she's like you, Sarah. She's not a writer, but she's a talker. And she always wanted to write a book. So I ghost wrote for her because I have a journalism degree and I love to write. And so I just would interview her, and I self-published an entire book for her. I created her website. I helped create, her PowerPoints and kind of her training curriculum. I did that all for not a lot of money while I had a full-time job. And then when I pivoted my career, I was able to say, and by the way, literally, like, I think she paid me like a couple $100 like a month. Like, it wasn't a lot of money.
Super successful book as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But I had the resume. I was able to say, this is what I did. I self-published a book. I took this woman and I was able to help brand her. And so that was able to get me in the door with other things and other avenues. And so it doesn't happen overnight. You're going to have to work for free. You're going to have to work your butt off. You're going to have to figure out ways to make partnerships and connections. You're going to have to travel on your own dime. Sarah and I wanted to speak at conferences. People didn't know who we were. They weren't going to pay for us to go to Vegas. We had to pay for ourselves. Like, we had to invest in ourselves. But we knew every decision we were making, every bit of money we were putting into ourselves, it was going to pay off eventually.
This is totally off the subject, but I think it's super relevant, is if you're somebody who has a private Facebook and a private Instagram and you share very limited stuff and you share very personal stuff only about your family, Jen, is that someone who's going to be good at maybe selling a product?
That right there is a really great point. And it could probably be its whole other episode. So maybe we should put that one down, because I think that is a good point. But No, if you want to be successful overnight, no, you have to know, like, if I'm going to buy into an MLM, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to have to put myself out there. If I'm going to be a beach body coach, I have to show myself working out. Like, I have to show myself eating healthy. I can't be private about everything. And if you're a private person, don't do that. Like, no one's holding a gun to your head. You don't have to sell stuff. Like,
or don't overnight turn into somebody who's not private, because that's not you. And
yeah.
I'm all for stepping out of your box and your comfort level, but like, let's talk end game here. If that's not something that's one of your natural talents, like, let's move on. Let's look at something else, real estate, for example. I'd love to help real estate, because, I'm pretty much a real estate agent. I watch Selling Sunset. So,
sure. So you're Mary Fitzgerald.
Exactly. So, but if you don't want to, work on nights and weekends, that's probably not the right thing for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I
reminded several times.
Y'all.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
But it's very, very true, is that, if you're a private person, don't be a salesperson. I would say, if you don't want to share stuff about your life, there are just some things that you shouldn't be doing. And I think you make a good point. Like, if you want to be a real estate mogul, you're going to have to sacrifice a lot of your weekends, your holidays, your time. And ask your friends that are real estate agents. But again, if you have that 9 to 5, if you have bought into an MLM, and they are promised, MLM specifically, you go to these conferences and they're like, you're going to be a millionaire, you're going to drive a Mary Kay car, all this stuff. You come out of those conferences feeling like you're going to own the world. You aren't right away. It's going to take time. It's a process. And the mistakes people are making is that they think it's going to happen overnight. So they ask for the buy 24/7, and every single post is about it. And they ask for the buy, and they ask for the buy, and they ask for the buy. And you know what you're doing? You're shooting yourself in the foot for sales a year from now when you could be a mogul. And so,
right. Or you're joining one program and you think it's going to be successful. You give it a couple weeks and you're like, this isn't it. I'm on to the next one. Mm-hmm. So then you become the person who's like, oh, I wonder what she's up to this week. Oh, okay. So then you don't have any credibility. It goes back to kind of recap, be passionate about what you're doing and what you're selling, whether it's yourself, whether it's a product, and give it time. And you need to start this building relationships before you even enter this company, correct?
Sarah. So Sarah and I, again, we're going to get into this later about how to actually become a consultant. But when we decided to do this, Sarah, how long did we hustle our boot camp for? 3 years, 2 years?
3 years.
3 years. Before I even quit my job.
Yep.
And that meant taking personal vacation days to go out of town. And you know what sucked about it is that we had to be so quiet about it, because our boss was fine with it, but she just didn't want us blasting it from the rooftops. Yep. So because of that, we couldn't be who we couldn't like go on Instagram and be like, oh, we're at this school and we're doing this boot camp. We had to be secretive about it. We had to be very quiet about our success. And it was even harder. It was harder to build our business because we were on a leash.
Right. Oh, so well put. We were. So we had it harder than most.
Oh yeah, because like it's true, Sarah. Like, listen, if you're gonna sell like Mary Kay or whatever, you're allowed to go on social media and blow and completely blow that up, blast it to everyone to try to get sales. You and I couldn't tell anyone, and we were afraid to even tell our friends, or we were afraid to tell we definitely couldn't tell coworkers, because that would tell this person, who then our president would find out, and it would have been a whole thing. So we were side hustling quiet, and for years. By the way, though, we did pretty well. I mean, we made thousands of dollars just on the side, doing our own thing, keeping it quiet.
And a disclaimer, we're not advocating to like go hush hush. We absolutely told our boss. She knew what we were doing. She supported it, but she didn't want it getting around. So that was fine.
So we had to keep it quiet. And of course, one day I will tell the story about why I quit my job and
We're going there. Okay, I'm here for it.
the day before when we were brought into the office. That being said, it didn't happen overnight. None of this happens overnight. It's not going to happen overnight for you. You're not going to buy into a product and you're not going to get rich tomorrow. I'm sorry, that's just not how it works. So if you take anything away from this, just know there's a process. The good news is we're going to teach you the process, and it's going to be faster than the few years it took us because we figured it out along the way.
Yeah.
Right.
We didn't have anybody, back when we started this, there wasn't the mentors, there wasn't the channels, there wasn't the support of that. So that's what we want to be for you guys. That is it. We want to be the support because we didn't have that, and there's such a need for it, and you can be successful.
Yeah.
Let it help you find the way.
We took very specific steps to become who we are today. And I mean, I think that, everything from finding your niche to finding your passion is great, but from the partnerships we made with vendors to it, creating a boot camp to speaking, we're going to go through all of that and teach you guys how to literally do what we did. We're going to take you through our free boot camp and teach you how to become consultants and work for yourself. So we are thankful that you came to our first episode, that you watched, and we're excited for this ride. So
can I give them some homework?
Homework, go for it.
So homework is to decide what your niche is. What are you really good at? Second is to look at your relationships. What current relationships do you have? How could you make those relationships better? And just start to really, really water that seed, because that is going to help you in the long run. So, reach out to people that you're friends. Be a good friend. Be a good coworker. Be respectful. Be helpful. That's going to help you in the long run.
Wow, Sarah. I mean, you lived that. You were my saving grace when I started at the beauty school years ago. Really quick side note story. When I met Sarah, she was a hot mess. She had just had a baby. She flew into the boardroom and 15 minutes late for a giant meeting when we're all sitting there professional. This is my first encounter with Sarah. And she sits down and she's like, "Can someone pass me the strawberry jam?" And is like literally opening up butter and like buttering her biscuit. And I'm just over here like, who is this girl who showed up late with Starbucks, buttering her biscuit? But you know what I noticed about Sarah? Is from the jump, she knew who she was. She was confident. She knew she was good at what she did.
I knew I was a mess, but I owned it. I was authentic. Mm-hmm. I wasn't sitting there trying to be someone I wasn't and pretending I had it all together, because I was a mess.
Yeah. And you did, you owned that. You were like, I had a baby, I'm going through a lot. Like this
I gotta go pump. I'll be back in an hour. Like it was a whole thing.
Yeah, definitely owned it. And so you're going to find a lot of authenticity with us. We're not going to be, even now, I'm just looking at a t-shirt, like my makeup's not done. Your roots are terrible. This is who we are.
This is it. This ring light I had to get is very hot. So I'm like,
well, it looks great with the rug on your wall. That's for sure.
We have to talk about the rug in another episode.
There are so many things we need to write down and literally give a better plan. But yes, homework for you guys in your current job today. Figure out what you actually like.
Yeah.
Any aspect that you like of your job. And then remember, your success isn't going to happen overnight.
Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. That's super important. And make sure, tell us about the episode in the comments. Tell us what you want to hear more about. Tell us what you loved. Tell us about if you found your niche. Oh my gosh, you guys, you enlightened me. I found this is my niche. So then we know how to help you get there.
Oh, Sarah, you were born to be a YouTube star.
I was so scared to do this, right?
But you are rocking it, and that ring light is working for you.
It's because you give me strength. She is my cheerleader when I don't have it internally. So again, find you a Jen, find you someone who's your rock, because you can't go through this alone.
Yeah, good advice. All right, until next time, thanks guys.
Thank you. Bye. Guys.